to a very special Daleks Aren't Robots. Why is it so special, you ask? Well, for one thing, we're down to just the Whovians today. That's me, Josh.
And me, Zach.
And you, Zach. So if you're a fan of the show, and given you're listening to this podcast, I assume you are, then you're probably into Doctor Who. And if you're into Doctor Who, then you may know that a New Year's special was just released as of yesterday from when we're recording. So probably 2 days from when this goes out. And Zach and I had some thoughts, and we decided that rather than just doing our normal thing of talking to each other, we would put it out on the internet for people to listen to in order to keep engagement up, and maybe people will like it. I don't know. We're trying stuff out. Also, to get it out on time, I'm not going to give this as thorough an editing as before, so you may hear some more uhs and stammers, and you may hear some more mistakes and bad takes. We apologize for that. This is going to be rough, but hopefully you find that more charming than irritating. So before we get into the special itself, perhaps we should explain where we're coming from going into this. We kind of did that in the first episode of our podcast where we talked about An Unearthly Child. But in case you're new here and hadn't watched that, or you just need a reminder, you want me to start?
Sure.
Okay. So I've been watching Doctor Who for quite a while. I've seen all of New Who, most of Classic Who. I have been enjoying the 12th not the 12th Doctor, the 13th Doctor era a fair bit. Because last series was series 12, so it messes with my head. But yeah, the Jodie Whittaker, Chris Chibnall era, the first series they made together, I was like positive on, but not exactly blown away. My response was like, yeah, that's mostly pretty good. Couple episodes I really liked, maybe one that I was like not really fond of at all, and the rest of them were like, okay, but not gonna make my top 10 list or anything like that. Series 12 was for me a major step up, and it got me way more invested, especially the finale, The Timeless Child, which is a very controversial stance. I know a lot of people were not pleased with that finale, but I liked it quite a bit, and so I was very excited going into the special.
Me, I similar watched Classic Who and the new stuff for quite a while. I think I liked Series 11 a little more than you did.
Yeah, that's probably about fair.
But still had issues mainly with the finale.
I feel like Series 11,
yeah,
not to get too technical, but Series 11 I think worked a lot better in the one-off episodes than in the overarching plot they came up with, which I thought was
yeah.
Cool.
But when Chibnall dove back into canon with Series 12, and did new stuff with it, it worked overall, in my opinion.
He revived the Cartmel Master Plan.
Yes.
I'm so happy. I love the Cartmel Master Plan.
And Joe Martin Doctor was awesome.
Oh, I should probably mention, we're going to be spoiling pretty much everything. We're going to be spoiling this special, probably large chunks of last series, tons of stuff. So if you're not caught up, or if there's stuff like you weren't sure you wanted to check out, but maybe now you're thinking about it, maybe this is not the podcast to listen to right now.
That's fair.
Lots of spoilers, but yeah, Joe Martin was fantastic. I loved her. What are we calling that doctor? Is it just Dr. Ruth still, or is it like negative doctor?
I personally like the ruthless doctor, but
yeah, very appropriate. I love that she took out someone with an exploding gun. That is fucking amazing. I loved it. So good.
Yes.
I like Jodie Whittaker very much, but I would if we could get like a whole series with just Joe Martin Doctor, I'd be pretty happy. I want that. And her outfit was amazing. It's sort of like the third Doctor by way of Austin Powers
With more style.
with more style. And her TARDIS is also great. I love that. Fugitive of the Jadoon was so great.
Yes. Other than the framing device. But we're getting
Yeah.
sidetracked.
Yes, we are. So we should probably get to the special itself.
Revolution of the Daleks.
Yes, Revolution of the Daleks. The new plan seems to be that we're saving the Dalek stuff for just the holiday specials, which I think is a smart decision.
Yeah.
Keeps them in the show, but the Daleks were getting kind of stale. This allows them to use them very sparingly, and I think it's worked out so far. Resolution.
We weren't as sparing as we were with them in Resolution, though.
No, here there were a lot more of them. That I've got thoughts on that. I will just one last bit I will say is my take on Resolution was it was okay, but I wasn't exactly like, again, much like my take on Series 11. Good, probably not gonna like be really into it. Did you ever end up seeing Resolution? I think you missed that in the first round.
It was fine. There were really interesting ideas in it, but overall, too much time was spent on Ryan's daddy issues.
Yeah.
And not enough on the more interesting thing, which was the Dalek puppet plot.
Yeah, that was actually, I thought, a really good way of making the Daleks scary again, giving them that sort of puppetry ability. Resolution also had that god-awful phone joke. Oh, the phone's out. What are we going to do? I guess we'll have to sit around and talk to each other. What? Like, Chibnall, no. Chibnall, no. You're not Russell T Davies, man. You can't do it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But we should probably get into the special itself, which is kind of a direct sequel to Resolution in a way, and also kind of a direct sequel to The Timeless Children in a way. Would you be willing to give your opinion first on this one?
Okay, I guess we don't have to sum up the episode. We'll go through it. But I definitely have issues, but overall I found it a fun ride. And not though kind of empty at points. It didn't exactly live up to my expectations coming off of Series 12. It was much more empty and much more just a fun New Who ride that doesn't really have any substance or some nice moments, but not overall just kind of empty.
I guess that's fair. It's certainly not moving the overarching plot forward. It's very much its own thing. My opinion is incredibly torn. There were a lot of moments in here that I absolutely loved and was very infatuated with, and there were things in here that pissed me right the fuck off.
Interesting.
And with your permission, I would like to start on one of the things that pissed me right off that I have a feeling a lot of people are gonna agree with me on this, even if they were like, head over heels in love with the episode. Let's talk about Jack Robertson.
Yes.
Yeah. Remember
Trump
him?
XP is back.
Yeah, the Trump guy from the Arachnids episode in Series 11, who, my opinion on that episode is that it's fine. That seems to be one of the ones that people are a lot more willing to bash, and I'm like, it's, fine. I think it mostly works because the effects on the spiders are really good. They're very creepy spiders. But I don't find Jack Robertson it's not even that I don't like him. I don't find him intimidating or interesting. I just want him to go away.
Of all the human villains we had in this episode, he's the most boring and lackluster. Either of the other two, if they had survived, could have been more interesting.
And he's annoying.
Yes.
He's a one-note joke over and over again. and I just don't.
And so were the other two weren't especially dimensional, but you could have done stuff with them.
What's his name? Grant. Not Grant. Grant?
Uh,
The tech guy
yeah.
gets possessed.
Leo.
Leo. Yeah. Leo, I thought actually had something to him. I would have been
Yes.
interested in seeing. A part of me almost wondered if he was going to be a new companion, but we'll get to that in a bit.
Yes.
I have some thoughts on that. But Jack Robertson, I don't even want him to like die or suffer or get his comeuppance. I just want him off my screen. I don't want more time to be taken up by him. And he is a major part of the plot, and especially at the end, he is a major part of the ending. And I hated it so much. I just send him away, please.
And the fact that he gets away with shit like Trump, so it's really annoying. Not to get political.
Yeah, they pull a Mr. Satan deal from Dragon Ball where at the end he takes credit for the whole thing, and like it seems to be one more joke of like, oh, look at that rich guy is gonna get away with it again, and it's just like the
real
reason
problem with that is it feels like we're setting him up to show up again.
Like when that works with characters like Mr. Satan in Dragon Ball, and I absolutely hate that I'm going to be making this comparison in a positive way, but like Joe Turturro in the Transformers movies, who also has that kind of thing where he ends up taking credit and getting a big ego, is there's still like a kind of endearing quality to them. They started off so low that seeing them kind of fumble their way into that high position is weirdly charming, even if they themselves are not.
We saw this guy already at his top.
Yeah, he's already this billionaire mega corporation dude. Like it's not funny. I don't feel like it's playing into the horror or anything, or like Jack Robertson's playing some game of 5-dimensional chess. He's not David Xanatos or anything. It's just one more stinger, and maybe, oh god, they're setting him up to come back, aren't they?
Yeah, that's what I said.
I don't want him more. I don't want any more.
Anyway, let's get off Jack Robertson for a little while.
For a little bit. We'll come back to him because, again, he's a big part of the ending.
Let's move on to a tiny nickel that I don't know if you noticed, but none of the Daleks had plungers, and that annoyed me.
I didn't. I noticed the mutant Daleks, the impure Daleks didn't have plungers. I didn't notice if the brown Daleks didn't.
Nope. Apparently, when you are the SAS Death Squad of Daleks, you do not have a plunger.
Huh. That's weird. I wonder why they got rid of
that. You don't have a manipulator on. You have another So
you have two guns.
I forget what they had, but they definitely didn't have a plunger.
I hadn't really noticed that. No. There is something I noticed that that did bother me. Or bother me is even the wrong word. It's just irked my particular opinions, and this is going to be tied to a hot take. So I want to apologize. I want whatever opinions I may have. I am not like insulting you or the show or whatever, but I need to emphasize I hate the end of time. The David.
Yeah, they have like a grabby arm, but not it's not a plunger.
Oh, I wonder if they're moving away from the plunger to try and make them like a little more make them a little more usable, utilitarian. I don't know what the word is, but like make them a little more formidable, I guess.
I also know something else about them, but that ties into one of my major complaints, and let's go with some other things before we get there.
All right. Well, I mentioned that I really don't like the end of time, the David Tennant finale. And I'm not sure if you noticed, there was a reference to the end of time in the very beginning of this episode.
Oh?
the burgers and tea truck that's there is the same one that the two homeless people stop at.
Okay, let's get to that because that actually is another neglect. How in the hell did I guess it was Robertson who said that? Did he know that the driver would stop for tea there on the side of the road? Did he just have a bunch of those set up?
Maybe he like kept moving the truck so that the driver would eventually come out and get grabbed. I don't know.
Maybe.
The
That
whole bit
that seemed
there.
that seemed weird to that seemed very, very convenient. Which I know Doctor Who is built on convenience, but still that seemed
Also, it seemed kind of dumb. Like
yeah.
if Jack Robertson and this random politician, Joe something, I don't remember her last name, Russell, maybe.
Yeah, let's just call it like it is. Theresa May knockoff.
Yep. So the Donald Trump knockoff got the Theresa May knockoff to like kind
Basically,
of.
we're mocking conservatives and Tories. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, pretty much. Theresa May knockoff, I actually didn't have much of a problem with. She almost
No,
seemed formidable at times.
yeah, like I said, she would have been one note, but her going forward would not have been as annoying as Robertson.
No. But like they seem to have this arrangement where like she feeds him the information that from the not unit, we now have a new secret organization that isn't Unit or Torchwood, because I guess this one's going to be kind of evil.
Yeah,
So I guess they didn't want to like, besmirch Unit or Torchwood to do that.
even
I
though
think it,
Torchwood has already done their
I don't know.
hand at being evil. Yeah.
GCHQ, I think is what they're called, if I remember correctly. I
Yeah.
apologize. I have no notes. I did not prepare for this at all. This is why we need Kari. Kari is better at planning. But anyway,
Yes. Yeah, they were kind of in the last special too.
but I am sort of like, why didn't they arrange a handoff then? Like just a proper handoff with someone on the take who would cover for them.
Yeah.
Why did they have this elaborate kit? Like that's going to raise more questions.
And in
That's
fact it did. So
yeah, that's just making things more dangerous for you. That is,
Mhm.
and I mean I get it. It's there because they want the like sneaky opener to hook the audience. Like, oh God, what's happening? But
And the
it
Star Wars joke.
yeah, but it doesn't really make sense in hindsight.
No.
I feel like we've been really down on this episode so far, so I do want to talk about some stuff that we liked if you're up for that.
Okay.
Should I start or do you want to start?
You go.
Okay. I will say that for me, where this episode really shined was in the character moments. The plot I found kind of dumb, and while I liked one major bit of the plot that I thought would have been really cool, it ends up getting kind of wiped away by the ending. But for me, this is really more a story about the Doctor and her companions and how they're all relating to each other. And on that level, I found it very engaging. This
I found some of it really annoying in how
really,
they treated the Doctor, but yeah.
well, I mean, we're still kind of doing the whole mythology of the Doctor thing, but that's just a new Who
Well, no,
thing.
what I found annoying is how they treated her for showing up 10 months late when she was in prison for at least 19 years, probably longer.
Yeah.
I really had an issue with that. Like, and she never brings up how long it was, and they know her machine doesn't do time right, and she even mentions she's in jail, and they just gloss over that.
I mean, I feel like she didn't mention the lost time because this Doctor really hides like what's bothering her. She hides her
Yes.
pain. So I think that
I
major
mean,
loss of
Jack could
time.
have said something.
True.
I don't
I
know. I did find that.
I feel like that might come back later.
Mhm.
I wasn't particularly bothered with it because it was the
The
longest
only
gap.
and really my issue there was more Graham and Ryan's reaction. Yaz came out of this episode the best for the companions.
Yes.
Like I
I'm
like that for the 10 months she was still kind of looking for the doc.
Yeah.
Um,
I honestly, Ryan at least, I thought did a lot of good stuff. Graham, I think, does get kind of the short end of the stick here. His stuff is very much glossed over. But I do feel the pull that Ryan has wanting to stay home. The idea of like, being with the doctor is just constantly having your life interrupted, and I'm just getting mine off the ground. I want to be able to do that on my terms.
yeah.
I feel like there was just enough there that I'm like, okay, I can read where Ryan's at, and I related to him. Ryan started off as my least favorite companion, but by the end of this, I actually grew rather fond of him and was very happy with how his character arc had gone.
Oh, I disagree, but that's fine. I still don't really like. If I had to rank them, it'd be Yaz, then Graham, then Ryan as a distant third.
Okay, I would probably still rank him that way, but Ryan would be much closer to Graham than he would have been
Mm.
at the start. I will.
And Yaz had a good moment with Jack.
Yaz did have a good moment with Jack. Yaz got a lot of development, I think, because she's carrying on after the
Yeah.
special, whereas this was like, Graham and Ryan's departure. So they're setting stuff up with Yaz, but
Yes.
they're not really going to do that with Graham or Ryan.
Yeah.
Yaz has been my favorite pretty much since the start of Series 12, and that has definitely continued. I really want to see where she's going. And maybe this is just me. Are we basically making Yaz teen canon now? The Yaz
definitely
13 shippers?
They definitely have more or at least the same chemistry as the last couple times we've shipped companions with the Doctor.
I will say I will say that I'm not a big fan of shipping with the Doctor personally. Although we're going to touch on a little bit of that in the next. I'm currently editing the Aztecs for Daleks Aren't Robots.
Yes.
So when you get to that podcast, people, we do actually talk a little bit about the Doctor's first ship and my thoughts on that there, where I was mostly positive. Plug. But for the most part, I'm not a big fan of the Doctor in relationships. But here I find it a lot more palatable than I did with either Rose or River, because it's not being played as like grand windswept tragedy. And in fact, the Doctor herself doesn't necessarily have romantic feelings for Yaz yet. It seems very one-sided. Yaz definitely seems way more into the Doctor.
Also, speaking of chemistry, may I just say that Jack seems to have less attraction to the Doctor as a woman than as a man.
Just to be fair, I think part of that could be because John Barrowman as a person is gay.
Yeah.
So maybe that's just coming through in the performance a little bit. He definitely seems more like, we should be buddies.
Yeah.
Jack Harkness, I was largely pretty fond of in this episode, but I will admit that he was there wasn't a lot of dimension to him here.
No, but we did get Fun Jack. So
We did get Fun Jack. I do like Fun Jack over Broody Jack.
And speaking of, it sounded like we might be setting up for more Torchwood.
Well, maybe, or maybe we were just touching on a character whose finale was kind of ambiguous.
Not real. If we're bringing Gwen back, we kind of have to undo Children of Earth. Anyway, we don't get into Torchwood.
Well, they said that she was there with her grandkids, so well, yeah, I guess that's fair. She does die at the end.
Yeah. Anyway,
I don't know. I'm not sure I read like we're getting more Torchwood so much as like Chibnall was reclaiming a character he wrote that Davies may be killed. So
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see
we
how
will
it goes.
see.
I personally am not a big fan of Torchwood, but I know other people are.
Yes.
So if you're a big fan of Torchwood, hey, take that however you want. I don't care. That's really how it comes down. I don't have to watch. I don't care.
Yes. So where are we going next?
I thought the Doctor's character arc in this was also very strong.
Yeah.
And I do like it spawns almost directly out of where she left the Timeless children. Where she's like, now that she knows more about her history, she's losing her sense of self. I liked the bit with her in prison, but I will say that like for a place that is basically just built on cameos, I do kind of wish we'd gone for stuff that was a little less obvious.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, there's a weeping angel, there's a crazed ood. Like, we couldn't get something a little more obscure in there just to be interesting.
Yeah. Give us a Naimon.
Yeah, like something from the classic show, or even like, a Krillitane if you want to stick with just,
Mm-hmm.
or
Yeah.
yeah, like there's plenty of creepy monsters in Doctor Who. You don't have to just stick with the basic ones.
Yeah.
Like, we've already seen the Ood get brought back over and over again. We don't need him again. But I thought those bits were fine, and I liked how she was like kind of trying to communicate with all of them, even though she's clearly kind of scared of them.
Yeah.
That the bit with the weeping angel, I just complained about it, but it was a nice little moment.
And we had a silence joke because, of course.
Yeah. I'm not even sure why the Jadoon would arrest a silence, but okay, whatever.
The Jadoon do what the Jadoon do.
True. So now is the Doctor officially a fugitive of the Jadoon? Because she broke out.
Yeah. I think that's kind of what you do.
True. One more positive thing I want to bring up that ties us back to the plot, so maybe we can get back to that. Should we talk about the impure Daleks?
Sure.
Okay.
If we're gonna get into that, then we're getting into Daleks fighting Daleks, which comes into another of my cruxes of the episode. But you go.
Oh, I loved that. But that is us getting I think a bit ahead of where I wanted to start. So for the main plot is mostly focused on the Dalek from Resolution has been cloned and brought back by this one guy who's all science and no like forethought.
Now, may I just say that in my opinion, when that happened, so I feel like in editing things got moved around. I feel like almost immediately after we should have seen him start getting take over by the Dalek, not after the team confronts Jack Robertson, because that means that the Dalek did all this in under a month.
Fair. Also, it would have it would have made the confrontation between the team and Jack Robinson have a little more bite to it.
Yeah,
because then we would know there's a threat.
Yeah.
Whereas up to that point, it's basically just we don't actually know what's going on.
Yeah, the Daleks are just robots up to that point.
I don't know if that's an editing issue or if it was actually scripted that way, but I think you're right. I think
it would have been better if he had been taken over from the start, not in the last week or two of production.
But that clone Dalek ends up taking over Leo's body via the same way that it did the people in Resolution. I still really like that. I think it's a cool new trick. I think it keeps the Daleks pretty scary. And so he's like, we're going to make more clones and put them in the robot bodies that we're building now.
Yeah.
Which I think, again, also a pretty good plan. And I will say this, the impure Dalek suits I thought looked pretty damn cool. I liked the black chrome look to them. I liked the sort of bulgy heads. They're a little bit taller. The one thing I don't like is the red eyes, which strikes me as a little much. But
yeah.
But aside from that, I thought it was a really good design, and I was a fan of it. And it was mostly practical for the most part. Although I will say the effects throughout this special, one thing the Chibnall era has actually been really good at.
It's looked really good.
It's looked really good. Here, the effects looked largely pretty bad. And I don't know what happened. Like, the CGI is, the CGI. The longer you focus on it, the more...
I actually thought it looked fine, but
the stuff that
on a smaller screen than you.
That's fair. The stuff that I found really painful to watch was the fake Daleks that they made in the little tanks, where it's abundantly clear that they're just like little rubber toys that someone is shaking off screen.
I was actually fine with that because it meant we didn't get CG Daleks and tanks. I'm okay with Doctor Who occasionally looking a little cheap.
I mean, we've been watching 1963 Doctor Who for a while now, so I guess I shouldn't be quite so picky.
Yeah, That's okay. You're a snob. It's fine.
I think the next episode, episode of the podcast is going to be on Keys of Marinus, where I think we're going to talk about the brain slugs and stuff. So that is demonstrates the special effects of that time. But beyond that, like the plot there, I think is really cool, and the Doctor calling old Daleks in to kill the new ones because they're impure. I thought that was a really good
except
twist.
they aren't old Daleks. It's a new type of Dalek. And here's where, so we have Dalek versus Dalek. And not only that, just in case you weren't having enough remembrance of the Daleks flashbacks, the voice for the old Dalek, for the Dalek Death Squad, was very reminiscent of the Remembrance Dalek voice.
Was it? I thought they just got Nicholas Briggs back.
No, he did, but he was trying. But the filter they put on him for those, he did all the Daleks.
A bit. But I mean, I like Remembrance of the Daleks, so I'm like, cool. That's I can get behind that. I like
between us. My issues here are we're falling back on Remembrance of the Daleks. We're falling back on Victory of the Daleks. We're falling back on on things we've already done.
But I feel like it's being remixed in a way that makes it work in the new show. It feels unique, like the Doctor using the Daleks fighting with each other as a weapon. We've kind of seen it before, but here it's very blatant, and I feel works really well. I do have an issue with it, which we'll get into in a bit, but more than anything else, I also just really like when we have reminders of Daleks not liking each other because of perceived difference.
Yeah.
That gets to the heart of what a Dalek is. So the idea that, maybe there's a whole new Dalek civil war now between the elitist, like, SS Daleks and these new impure Daleks. Like, there's layers to that we can explore.
Except we can't.
And here's where the episode really just I felt like I had been presented with a delicious ice cream sundae, and before I could take a bite, it was yanked away from me. Because most of the fighting is pretty much off screen. We get like brief flashes of the Daleks against each other, and then we're on a bridge.
Yep.
And the Daleks just kill all of the impure Daleks, and we are told explicitly that the SS Daleks have wiped them out completely. We're not going to deal with them anymore.
Yep.
And then Jack Robertson comes back.
Yep. And for all we were saying about the Daleks, being pure and all that, they seem ready to make a deal with him.
They do, and I don't know why. I don't know why Jack Robertson is good. Okay, so Jack Robertson is the Doctor's plan here is after the SS Daleks kill the impure Daleks, she's gonna blow up their mothership, and it'll be like all okay. And Jack Robertson's like, no, I'm gonna betray you. Why? What is to be gained? They are a death squadron. What are you going to get from them? What is the purpose? And then he shows up and he's like, I can guide you to important humans, I guess, or something like that. And the Daleks are like, seems legit. Why do you care? You're death aliens. Just go forth and enslave and kill. That's what you do. Why are you listening?
Deals with humans.
We've learned that you can possess people, just like, latch onto his back and take over. You don't need him.
Well, they actually may not.
True, that might be just what this mutated Dalek can do.
Or reconnaissance Daleks do that, but
true.
These are much more pure Dalek.
Okay, fine.
Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But
there are other solutions.
The fact that in his approach with them, he came in peace. I'm just saying.
Yeah, the moment he says I come in peace, they're like, okay. Like that's how Daleks respond.
Yeah. And praising how they got Daleks, that whole bit with him and them keeping him alive.
Yeah, up until
Seemed-
then, this episode had gotten the Daleks down to a T. They were probably the best Daleks we've seen in New Who. And then it all goes out the window so that we can have a new forced third act conflict that's really stupid.
Yeah.
And again, what was Jack Robertson hoping to get out of this? I really do not understand
Yeah, he
this.
only got something out of it because the Doctor saved the day. Otherwise, he'd be dead.
Yeah, there you get nothing. What was your goal? I can handle you being like this
He seemed
dumb.
to think they were intelligent and reasonable, which
I mean, they are intelligent,
yes.
but they're not reasonable.
No.
I don't get it. Then the Doctor tricks them all into the second TARDIS, which she then basically implodes on itself.
Yeah.
Which is a nice little bit, and it gets rid of the second TARDIS, which, they kind of had to do, because otherwise it'd be a really powerful tool just sitting around. Can't have that. Makes things too easy. You wouldn't have stories. But it's such a contrived way to get there.
Yeah. Though, even bringing in the SAS Daleks, while it was cool, felt a little contrived itself because, again, they get brought in so late and we don't see much of them.
That's true, but had that been the actual ending, I could have accepted it. And I'm hoping maybe if this caught on, Chibnall will be like, well, maybe some impure Daleks got away or something.
Yeah.
The idea of there being an ongoing Dalek civil war strikes me as a good plot point they could return to.
Yeah.
I'm mostly upset that they killed off the reconnaissance Dalek, because we could have had an arc with him, like an actual Dalek character arc, which I guess we have with Dalek Sec, but like, do we? He kind of just gains future telling powers and then goes nuts.
And brings Davros in. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's an arc. But like there was actual chance for growth and change, and that would have been interesting to explore. Out the window.
At least this was more interesting than the last time we did human mutation Daleks.
You're talking about Daleks in Manhattan?
Yeah.
Yep. Also less gross.
Yes. Anything else?
I guess there's the big thing that we kind of need to talk about.
Oh.
Which isn't in the episode proper, but is in the promo at the very end.
British comedian.
Yeah, I don't know anything about this guy. Do you know anything about this
John
guy?
Bishop. He's a rather famous British comedian. Done a little bit of acting. He's not huge, but relatively well known.
Mm.
I don't know anything about the character he's playing other than it's another companion from modern day London.
Yeah, looks like a blue collar guy of some sort.
Yep.
Yeah. I just want to give you I sent a text to someone after that bit happened.
Oh.
That I think maybe gives you an idea of what my immediate visceral reaction was. Fuck, shit, fuckity, fuck, shit, piss, ass, fuck.
Okay, you were definitely...
I was not happy. I have since cooled substantially, and I will admit that reaction was not called for. Here's the thing, I don't know John Bishop. I don't know what his style of comedy is like or what acting he's done. I did see he also apparently was a footballer, which, like, weird, but Billy Piper was a pop singer, so
I mean, they do... In Britain, you do a lot.
That's true.
In the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I was not a fan when Catherine Tate was announced as the companion.
And she became...
And Donna Noble was amazing.
Yeah, Donna Noble's probably still my favorite New Who companion.
And he is also an actor. He's not just a comedian.
Yeah, okay, so that could still work. I just, like... We finally got rid of the three companion team was too many.
Yeah.
It was the biggest weight that the show was carrying this time. They could never balance them all and make it work. And so
But say what you will, we have had a good two companion team relatively recently. Dr. Bill and Nardole.
that's true. Also, we had Dr. Amy Rory.
Yeah, I
Um,
was talking about
oh,
good teams.
hey, I like Dr. Amy Rory.
At points they were fine. At points towards the end, it didn't work as well.
Well, as is the case with Moffat, good start. Shame about the ending. I still like that team though, especially in Series 5. Series 5, it's their work in Series 5 that I thought was really good. I just like I to an extent I think part of it is that he's another blue collar white guy from modern day London. I'm so tired of it. I want
I
it.
mean,
If we must bring in someone new, can't it be someone actually new and not another one of these?
yeah. Well, no, apparently not.
Like we already have Yaz. Isn't Yaz enough of a modern day perspective for us to carry forth? Can't he be like from the Victorian era or a post-apocalyptic future, or throw a dart at a classic companion and see what sticks, because a lot of them were not this.
Yeah. No, apparently not. I mean, apparently the show is not ready for that.
I guess not. Also, we apparently can't have an all-woman TARDIS team yet. We're just not
No.
there.
So we've never had an all male TARDIS team really, so
I guess we haven't. Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. My response was still disappointment mixed with like visceral anger,
yeah.
which is probably an overreaction. I've cooled on that. I'm sure he'll be fine.
Eh,
Maybe I was social justice warrioring too hard. I don't know.
I mean, there's also the fact that we're getting a much smaller season 13 than people would
Yeah.
like, but
Yeah, so more time is going to be eaten up introducing this guy, which I'm not crazy about. Like Yaz has always been given the short end of the stick. I wanted to see her get more stuff to do because she, I think,
yeah,
is the best of the new batch of companions. And I don't want her time being taken away to some dude
yeah,
who I don't know. And like if he shows up and he's amazing and he's like even better, then I will love him and I will accept him. But I was disappointed. I feel that's the best way to put
yeah.
it.
I will admit I had hints of this announcement up to like a month ago, so I was
Okay.
not. I've had more time to get used to it than you.
Mm,
Not particularly the name, but knowing that there were enough rumors of another companion joining, and yeah,
yeah. Again, I thought Ryan and Graham's departure was well handled. I liked it. The final scene with them does get a little.
drags on a little long.
It drags on a little long and it gets fairly saccharine by the end. I
Yeah,
don't think the hallucination of the grandmother was necessary.
I was okay with that only because I didn't take it as a hallucination of the grandmother. I took it as the frog universe, but
Oh, could
that's
be.
my head canon.
I like that. And I guess hallucination's the wrong word. Metaphor, whatever. I felt like it was unnecessary, but it's not. I don't think it ruined anything. It's just a little
No.
draggier than it should have been.
And the fact that we don't give Jack an on-screen goodbye, not necessary, but just felt a little
I don't know. Given that I feel like Jack is going to definitely be coming back more, so
Yeah.
I'm perfectly happy with
Also,
that.
we brushed over this, but I'm kind of intrigued as to Jack didn't know that the doctor hadn't given the Cyberium to the lone Cyberman. So I'm curious as to has that affected the timeline Jack knew, or is there something there?
I don't know.
The fact that she actually did give it to, like, I may be jumping at nothing, but that's what
I
do a lot.
assume there's more there that hasn't been answered yet. Chibnall's definitely playing more of a bigger storyline behind things.
Yeah.
More so
So
that
the fact that we just brushed over that, but not in a way that answered any questions.
I mean, really, that's just touching base with it. Because again,
But
this episode's not about that.
no, but the little hint we had raised questions, but didn't answer or close any of them.
I guess. I don't know. It didn't. At the time, it went by so fast. I didn't think about it that much.
Oh. It nickled at me.
Like his timeline wouldn't have changed because he went back to tell her not to do it. So clearly, her doing it led to something going wrong. So it like things would have been the same.
I don't know. We will see.
We will see.
Do you have anything else, or we've covered everything, including Mr. Bishop?
I can't think of anything else.
Really, one of the most annoying things is that his name's just going to be Dan.
John Bishop's character?
Yes, it's Dan.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure he'll get a last name, but...
Dan.
You don't like Dan?
I mean, if we're going with just, the fact that he's from Britain and everything, it's just a kind of bland name to go with a potentially bland character.
Maybe it's an alternate universe Danny Pink who's actually interesting.
Well, now you're stretching.
Shots fired. Otherwise, I think we've kind of covered it. I feel like we came down a lot more negative than we were maybe intending to when we started.
You're the one who came into it negative.
I came into it conflicted, and I'm still conflicted. There are parts I liked. I don't like how many things felt like they got left on the table or doors that got shut. And I just, no more Jack Robertson, please. Please.
The third companion.
Oh, God. The only thing that would come of that is him being a companion means there is more chance of him being imperiled and possibly dying. But again, I don't even want that. I want him just gone.
That's not even true. Name the last time we actually killed a companion.
Adric, I guess.
I mean, Bill kind of counts in a weird way.
I guess Bill kind of counts. Clara, I guess, kind of counts, but neither of them really count.
Depends on how you count Twice Upon a Time. Anyway, we're getting off base again.
Yeah, we're way off then.
Okay, I think we should close.
Yep. So everyone, I hope that you enjoyed whatever this becomes. Check out our podcast, the regular podcast, Daleks Aren't Robots. We have 4 episodes up right now. 5th one coming out a week from Tuesday, I think. And then we'll be doing it every 2 weeks after.
Yep.
Until then, we're reminding you to feed your TARDIS. And Kari, if you listen to this, you will be very confused.
Yes.
Bye.